Hello, everybody. I hope that you all are doing amazing. Today, I'm joined with Monée Williams, and her business is not your average business, okay? If you have ever thought about hiring a virtual assistant or a personal or executive assistant, this is the woman in the company that you need to talk to, okay? So let's give a little bit of background on Monée Williams. She is the owner of Time Managed, from efficiency to managing your inbox to curating unforgettable travel experiences. Her team is highly skilled with their assistants. So this is not just people who can get on your computer, log off. No, she has about 9 dedicated people to assist you, and she believes in do not let your busy schedule hold you back any longer. Please, let's welcome to the stage Monée Williams. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. So first, I just want to hear a little bit about you. People see you online, you have a podcast, um, you have your MBA from Florida A&M, certified concierge from the National Concierge Association. Tell us, who else is Monée Williams because you're so accomplished.
Oh, thank you so much. So, the common stream across everything that I do, whether it's for my family, for my business, with my friends, is that I'm resourceful. And that is the reason why I started my business. So, if it was a vacation or getting the things together for the kids, I always find the most efficient and easiest way to get things done.
At LookWeAreIncluded.com, we don't just promote businesses, creatives, and professionals. We help you get seen. In the last 30 days, one of our accounts reached over 100,000 views with no paid advertising, and most of those views came from non-followers. When you advertise with LookWeAreIncluded.com, you're not just buying space. You're investing in exposure across our website, magazine, and social media channels. Don't wait. Text Media AD to 443-957-1519 today. LookWeAreIncluded.com, where your story matters and your brand gets seen.
So I do have 3 children. I've been married for my 24th wedding anniversary is actually coming up in a couple of days. I've been married for nearly 24 years. Yes, praise God for that. And we have 3 children. We have 2 older children. We have a freshman at FAMU. My oldest daughter, I like to say, is fully launched. So she is working a corporate job in marketing. And then my baby, who is 17, he is a senior in high school. I grew up in Atlanta. I went to Druid Hills High School. From there, went to Florida A&M, where I did their 5-year MBA program. And from there, we moved to Minnesota. So I actually started my business in Minnesota. We lived there
Wow.
for about 14 years. And at the time that I was there, I had an amazing experience. My oldest daughter was at the time, maybe, let's say 3 or 4. And I was working a corporate job and in the lobby of that corporation, they had a concierge at the desk. And every week, you could give her your list, and she would go to Target. And I know some of us are not shopping at Target right now, but back then we were. And for $5, she would go run that errand. I gave her a list, and I asked her to bring back an electric toothbrush for my daughter. And she brought me back a Black Princess electric toothbrush. I didn't give her any of those details, but she knows that my daughter is Black and probably would love a princess toothbrush. And that story, that experience just resonated with me because she could have just brought back an electric toothbrush that was generic and I would have been happy. But the fact that she was thoughtful about what she thought my daughter would enjoy, what would make me, happy and to go above and beyond for me, that really resonated with me. And I thought about the things that I do for my friends and my family, and I'm always trying to go above and beyond. And so I turned it into a business. And so it actually has taken a while for us to get off the ground, but the foundation of what I do and why I do it really stems from that experience and also stems from the things that I do really well.
Well, I want to go back to foundation because you said, hey, listen, this is not your typical $8 VA service. You service some high quality clients and even people small businesses who can make that 100 to about 500,000 mark. What is the difference between you and a regular VA service?
Yeah, so the main thing is that we're a one-stop shop for all of your needs. The other thing is that we are very proactive. So when you go to a VA service, a lot of times they are skilled at one thing, whether it's making a PowerPoint presentation or making phone calls for you or managing your calendar. We do all those things in one stop. We're also a luxury service. And so the high touch, we meet people in person. We have keys to their homes. They really let us into their lives. And you can't do that with all your VAs, especially if you're only paying them $8 to $15 an hour, right? So we pride ourselves on being an integral part of the family, of the business. We are a thought partner. And again, you might hire somebody to do a thing or have a skill to do a thing. But if I see something, for instance, if one of the proactive things that we do for our clients is calendar management for their children. So right now, people are going back to school. I've asked all my clients, give me your children's school calendar. Oh, they're a senior in high school. Don't forget to tell me the important dates throughout the year for the senior in high school, because you're going to need to maybe think about planning a party, or you're going to need to think about what you're going to do for spring break or senior pictures. So that proactive approach is not something that you would necessarily get in a VA service, but it's something that comes with our standard packages as we partner with our clients, whether they are a family or whether they are a business owner.
Wow. And the difference between, I would say, a normal VA service and a corporate service is that you do have in-person options, which means can people
Absolutely.
go, you'll find people. How does that work?
Yeah, so for some of our clients, and this is again a premium luxury service, so they do pay extra for us to show up in person. One of the things that I've done is help to organize the move in a home where my clients did not live anymore. So I had to coordinate with vendors who would come and pack up their home, vendors who would have an estate sale for them. Then after everything was done, make sure that the items were sold or that were not sold were either donated or purged. So all that coordination. Um, I have stayed in my clients' homes while they've hired a cleaning service. So maybe they don't trust just anyone being in their home and just want to have someone physically there. And it could be any vendor. It could be someone who's coming to fix your washing machine, or, my clients are really busy. And a lot of times, whether they're in town or out of town or at work or in meetings, they may not have time to be home to do the things that need to be done. And one of those things is meeting those vendors. So we do that as well. We have a project currently where a new client wants to organize her home. So we did a tour of the home, and she expressed to us the areas that were most pressing for her ideas for each of those areas. So I've made a list with in conjunction or in partnership with her. We've prioritized that list. And then we'll talk about what someone on my team can help her with, and then what are things that she may want to outsource. So we wouldn't do any painting or pulling up carpet or anything like that, but we can do the research for some of those vendors. So when we're making that list, we're also saying, okay, this is something that we can do for you. We can take this on. We can pack up your office, or we can help file things in your office. But for something that may need more of a professional skill set, the beauty about having us is that we'll call those vendors for you. So if you need your garage door done, if you want to replace the flooring, we'll call all of those vendors. We'll look at their reviews, we'll interview them, and then we'll send you our top choices for you to make the final decision. And then when it's time for them to come in your home, if you want, we'll meet them there. We can let them in. So we're really, like I said, an integral part of the family, of that individual's life. We're making we're making sure that we are being a partner for them, and that's not only with thought partnership, but it's really in action as well.
Monet, even my perception on just a VA services, I think that you need to maybe change the branding name, not your business name, but how you market it,
Mhm.
because this is more of you're hiring like a household manager.
Exactly. Yep. That
So
is one of
that's
the
a
things that we
different
do. Yep.
ball game than, hey, I could file papers. You also have
Hmm.
personal assistants or household managers. They'll do everything.
Hmm.
I want you just to consider that because more
Okay.
and more people are saying, listen, got five, six, seven kids. Okay. I need somebody to help me with this. Me and him
Yes.
making this work, and somebody gonna have to be here.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that's a good point because everyone may not know to search for a concierge in their inbox. And when you search for in their in Google or even ChatGPT these days, you may not also think to, if you do use the term personal assistant or virtual assistant, the amount of stuff that you'd have to sift through to really get to a person like me may be a lot. So I do think that term household manager really is a good way to describe what we do.
Now I want to talk about, how do you keep like the trust and honesty and discretion, with your daily
Mhm.
client interactions? Because sometimes, you'll hear celebrities say, well, first she started off as my social media person, then she was my personal assistant, then she ended up being my babysitter, and it was too many lines crossed. So how do you make
Mhm.
sure boundaries are kept, people are still people, and, those kind of things?
Right. First and foremost, we get it in writing. So, for the clients who need it or want it, we do have NDAs. Within our own contract for service, we do talk about the level of discretion and privacy that our clients have with us. They can trust us. And like I mentioned, we've had keys to homes. We have credit card information for our clients. In some instances, we've mailed taxes or have to gather, pertinent information and documents that are private to that family and be the coordinator of that information, in various instances. And so, one of the things that we do pride ourselves on is that discretion and privacy. And it is important because you want to make sure that someone who you are bringing into your home in this type of partnership is someone that you can trust, it won't cause you more stress, right? So our objective is to eliminate stress, reduce your stress so that you can live life with more balance and harmony. And you can't do that if you're worried about who's in your home. And from a perspective of my contractors or employees who work for me, they are held to that same standard. And I would never put someone who I didn't trust or who I wouldn't trust with my own personal information or in my own home. I would never allow that employee or that contractor to work for one of my clients.
Right. Oh my gosh, I love that. And give us the different tiers, because I'm going to say household manager, somebody who really comes in and they're there 2 or 3 times out of the week. We've
Yep.
seen professional nannies, their salary can be 250 to 300 a year. And they live in with, some of their people. Of course, they have their own homes, but they're like, listen, I need you here 24/7, girl.
Right.
So
Right.
what tiers do you have available for people?
Yes, and let's talk about your my tiers in relation to the clientele. So we've talked a lot about my private client services. So those services I offer on a package basis. Our minimum package is 20 hours for $1,300. So about $65 an hour is the average that we would charge a small business or private client. We also are able to go into businesses to be the concierge for their staff. So imagine a law firm or private equity firm or a corporation who says, you know what, my employees are probably stressed. I also want to increase morale and productivity among my employees. So I'm going to hire Time Managed to come in and be the concierge for my employees to be a benefit for them so they can call her and say, yes, can you help me find a nanny? Yes, can you help me do this make this dinner reservation or plan this party? And so in those instances, we charge a flat rate per month and then a really small nominal fee per employee. So that means that, at the end of the day, if they want someone on site, that would cause the price to fluctuate. If they want this all to be virtual and they just want their employees to have access, that's a little less expensive, but we do still have to cover the cost of being available to them during the time or for the duration that they have requested. The third way is through corporate and commercial spaces. So if you've ever been into a luxury hotel, luxury commercial building, or even a condominium building, they typically have a concierge at a desk. So we are also equipped to hire for those concierge needs in those luxury spaces. And again, that's an hourly. Typically, you'll see in that space between $25 and $40 an hour, and it may be someone who's hired by a property manager or equivalent to someone who would need to source for your security team. Um, But that just depends on the needs of the building. Again, if you need to be on site or do you just want the access to the concierge through virtual means? And that's another thing that sets us apart. In a lot of these spaces that are corporate and commercial, and you see the concierge at the desk, they're waiting for you to come down and say, hey, can you make this dinner reservation? Can you get me tickets to this show? We are proactive, so we're not going to wait until you come to us. There are certain things that we can do to make sure that we're inserting ourselves into your life.
At LookWeAreIncluded.com, we don't just promote businesses, creatives, and professionals. We help you get seen. In the last 30 days, one of our accounts reached over 100,000 views with no paid advertising, and most of those views came from non-followers. When you advertise with LookWeAreIncluded.com, you're not just buying space. You're investing in exposure across our website, magazine, and social media channels. Don't wait. Text Media AD to 443-957-1519 today. LookWeAreIncluded.com, where your story matters and your brand gets seen.
Because I think that's the thing that people really need and are looking for, because by the time they come down to to the desk and ask for something, it's probably the last minute. What's today? Wednesday. They might need a dinner reservation for Friday. But if I know that their anniversary is coming up and I can give them a month heads up, say, hey, your anniversary is coming up. I have this in your profile from when you signed up with us. I know that your anniversary is coming up, so I'm going to be proactive and say, hey, would you like me to look for a gift? Would you like me to make that dinner reservation? So that's one thing that sets us apart. But we do service all those three tiers. And I'm sorry, this is probably a long, long answer to your question, but I just want to give you a full view of our capabilities in the spaces that we can show up, whether it's the private client, whether it's the employees or a benefit to employees that a company may hire us for, or even that commercial space to staff the desk in that building.
Monet, first of all, that was an excellent explanation because um, it's the different level of people that you can service and where they are. And it's
Yes,
also
we meet people
the
where they are.
mobility, the mobility and how people can grow with you. Because if they're just starting out as a small business, right? But then, they could get huge. You never know. And
Yep.
now they say, well, you know what? I've been with Monet for a long time. Let me go ahead. I need at least two of y'all at my house. And then next thing you know, they're like, well, no, we've been working together 8, 10 years.
Right,
So
right.
those are the kind of relationships that you want to keep in trust. I want to go now into your hiring
Mhm.
because there are so many people looking for a job, and you have people who've been laid off for a while. I believe the average layoff time is around 6.5 months. And
Mm.
people are like, listen, can I work for Monet? Is this something that they can do? Who is the best person for this job? What type of skill set and character should they have?
Yeah, so skill set number one is someone who's resourceful, just like me, right? So I wish I could clone myself 100 times. But with that, someone who can make me better. I'm not perfect, but so I also look for people who may have a skill set or drive that I may not have in certain areas. And I want them to be hungry. This is a type of work where you can't just sit around and wait for somebody to tell you every step of the way. But if you see something that needs to be done, just do it. Or if you see a suggestion, make the suggestion. So to be not only resourceful, but to be proactive, very organized, very great communicators. I've had people on my team, unfortunately, who I've had to fire where, I've asked for things with a certain deadline and given great instructions and I don't hear from them. And then it's like, hey, have you started on this? Oh, no, I haven't. XYZ came up or this happened. I can't do that. I can't do that.
No, being reliable is key.
Reliable.
And if it happens more than once, you got to go. Sometimes that
Yep.
first red flag, you like, I should have cut you a long time ago.
We give people too many chances.
You got two chances with me, and a half. Um, Let me ask you this. How can people reach out? I know you have a YouTube podcast, but typically,
Mhm.
how do people find out about you?
Yeah, so through our website and social media, I think is the best way. We have a very easy phone number. It's 612-314-WE-DO, WEDO, and that's 612-314-9336. But you can find us on all social media at Time Managed LLC. The managed in that word is past tense. My way to get to the masses, I recently launched a podcast in this past January. So we are 20 episodes in. Season two is launching any day now. And through that, I give people tips and tricks on how to manage their lives and live their life with balance and harmony. So, like I've told you in the past, whether you can afford us as this luxury service or maybe you don't have a concierge in the building that you may live in, the tips that I share, I think anybody can benefit from. So, regardless of whether you need to organize your life yourself or you can hire somebody to do it, you can find me and find those tips on my YouTube podcast. It's called 1 Minute with Monet, and it's a little deceiving, but if you know my why, you would see you would understand. So the podcast is longer than 1 minute. Let's state the obvious, but I provide little small tips and snippets. So you can find my snippets on our Instagram page at 1 Minute with Monet or TikTok. But then if you want to go deeper into the topic, then you would come to our YouTube channel to get deeper information, deeper tips and tricks and statistics. And I have some interviews with some amazing people who are experts in the fields that I try to give tips for. So if you want to hire me, if you are not able to hire me, you could find information either way.
At LookWeAreIncluded.com, we don't just promote businesses, creatives, and professionals. We help you get seen. In the last 30 days, one of our accounts reached over 100,000 views with no paid advertising, and most of those views came from non-followers. When you advertise with LookWeAreIncluded.com, you're not just buying space. You're investing in exposure across our website, magazine, and social media channels. Don't wait. Text Media AD to 443-957-1519 today. LookWeAreIncluded.com, where your story matters and your brand gets seen.
Oh my gosh, Monet. And I like to say you are truly someone who you assess, because I've met Monet in person. She observes the room, very observant, lovely personality. And I really like that. It's almost like she's a counselor. Because even when we were sitting at our round table discussion, you were just listening and you said,
Uh-huh.
no, I'll go last. And I was like, okay.
Well, I feed off people's energy, so I try to sit back and observe and see what they have going on, not only for networking purposes, but just to understand where people are, in their journey. I love hearing stories. I love meeting new people, and that probably is why I do the things that I do.
I love it. And do you all have a customer service number or email that people can directly reach out to?
Yeah, so that number that I gave you, 612-314-WE-DO or 612-314-9336. You can call us there. You can also text that phone number and you'll get a response. Additionally, if you'd like to email us, you could go to hello@timemanagedllc.com. And again, managed is past tense, so MANAGED.
I love that. And if you do get referred to her through Look We Are Included or through one of my
Mhm.
platforms, just make sure you put Kamar referred you.
That's right.
Okay,
And
because I did.
I would like to offer your audience 10% off. So if you reach out to me in any of those means and mention included as the way that you heard about us, I will honor a 10% discount for you because I want to make sure that I am helping as many people as I can and meeting you where you are and let's get this balance and harmony together.
I love it. And last but not least, give people 3 self-care tips they should do monthly.
Oh, monthly. So this is actually you are setting me up because I'm gonna launch an episode around how we prepare for the summer. And what number one that I'm gonna talk about, so you're getting a sneak peek, is to self-care stack. And what do I mean by that? So the fall is busy for us moms, right? Because our kids are going back to school. We're making that quick shift from the summer mentality to the fall mentality and have to get our ducks in a row. But with planning for our kids and planning for the fall, make sure you're planning for you. So, for instance, I know we have a banquet tonight for my son. He's going to be starting fall track in a couple of weeks. Guess what I'm doing? I'm scheduling my massage. I went and got my pedicure yesterday. Um, I have a coach and a therapist. So I'm making sure that I am stacking my schedule, not only with the things that have to be done for everybody else around me, but also for myself. The second thing I would say is to remember that when we say that you cannot pour from an empty cup, I like to say that what's in your cup is for you. So if you're pouring from an empty cup, that means you don't have anything for you or anybody else. What's for everybody else is from your overflow. So if my cup is full, that's for me. When my cup starts to overflow, whether it's energy, time, money, that's for everybody else. And so I have to honor that. So that would be my second tip for self-care is to just really be thoughtful and set boundaries so that you can maintain the things that you need to be happy, healthy, and whole, as you'll hear me say throughout several of my podcast episodes. And a third self-care tip is to put it on the calendar. You know, I learned early on in my work with clients, and you may hear this from this client this season. She schedules her stuff far in advance because those are going to be the static things that nobody can move, right? So whether it's a doctor's appointment, she has those, you know, every 6 months, go to the dentist. Every quarter, you might want to get a facial. You know, women and anybody really, you have your annual exams that you have to go through to your doctor, your physicals, things of that nature. So at the beginning of the year, if you say, I'm prioritizing myself, I'm putting all this on my calendar. I don't want to wait until October, November. Oh, shoot, I have not been to the dentist all year. Oh, shoot, I need my physical, or this is hurting me. This is ailing me. I haven't been feeling well. If we prioritize what we need for our bodies and our minds and put those on the calendar first, then you know that is like the foundation for me of how we take care of ourselves. And you know, I do love a good massage and getting my feet done and all that, but really self-care is about putting yourself first and thinking about the ways that you can prioritize yourself, and that includes your health, mentally, physically, spiritually, making sure all those things are intact first.
Okay, I love it. And one more idea I want to give.
Okay.
Okay. I think before the end of the year, maybe in the fall or in the winter, you need to host a wellness day with no more than
Yes.
about 10 women, 10 to
Hmm.
15. If you want to include me, cool. And I can
Of
get one
course I
of my friends.
will.
Okay. But I think, of course, you just tell us, I don't know if it's part of your program, how much we need to pay, but I want to do a wellness day, just to be around some, calm spirited, stress-free spirited women.
Yep. I love it. I love it.
Um, but I did see that before I saw groups and I was like, but it would be cool if somebody just do a wellness day or wellness weekend.
Listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for it because, you know, to be well, again, everybody loves a good massage, but self-care and wellness is more than, you know, massages and pedicures. We really have to dig deep, and to have a wellness weekend or wellness day will really help us to not only have the fun and be pampered, but it will also allow us to pause
Mm.
and take the time that we need to really think deeply about what we want to accomplish in the next year, what we may not have done so well in 2025, but how are we
Right.
going to prepare better and differently for 2026?
I love it. All right.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Well, Monet,
Yay.
um, my audience, make sure that you reach out to her. Her phone number, her email is in the description below. And again, I know some of y'all gonna reach out. People tell me when y'all DM people. Okay. They be like, "Man, I got
I
like
can't
10."
wait. I can't wait.
When you do, just say, hey, saw you on Kamar's show. All right.
Hmm.
I'll talk to you all later. Y'all have a good one.